Welcome to the U-Turn Podcast. This is the place to connect to who you truly are. We're bringing PhDs, experts, and leaders to help you elevate your mindset in your work life and in your love life so that you can see things differently and truly love your world. I'm Ashley Stahl. I'm a career expert, author, and TEDx speechwriter and booker, and I'm excited to bring you in to this week's episode. Hi, friends. I'm so excited to bring someone on the show that can really help you, not just with your performance, but like how you think about and talk about and take care of yourself. And that's why I want to bring Darlene Santore onto the show, or if you're Italian, Santore. She is a coach that has helped high performers all over the world, whether you are an executive, an athlete, and she helps in many different ways. Like I was checking out her site, just thinking like, okay, this is performance coaching. This is mindset coaching. This is leadership coaching. And it's interesting because in my 20s, I was like kind of scrappy building my coaching business. I really didn't get what leadership coaches were fully doing because I was so in my lane as a career coach, just helping with what career do you want? How do you get it? I was not thinking about how hard it is to be a leader. It's so hard. And so I have so many questions about leadership for Darlene today. So thank you so much for making the time to be here with me.
Oh, Ashley, thanks for having me on. I loved you from the moment I met you. So I'm so glad that we have this time together.
Same. And those of you who don't know, we met at an event in Arizona. Really beautiful people at that event. Mm-hmm. And there was something about you that I just told my team, like, we really need Darlene. And so I don't know, there's something, I feel like you've got a magic sauce. I want to know what it is. Talk to me a little bit about who you help and like, where are they at? Like, how do you help these people?
So I currently help mostly C-level executives. And if you ever, it's like Wendy, making sure that they are making very high level decisions and they need an outlet themselves. One, to make sure that they're filtering out what they need to so they can be effective when they're going to lead. Because as you said, leadership, unless you've gone and you've been in these business programs where they're teaching some sort of leadership, we know plenty of entrepreneurs who have gone on and created billion-dollar businesses, and they've learned leadership along the way, or they haven't, and they've gotten into positions where they need to learn what does it mean to be a leader. The same with I coach pro athletes. So I was the Phoenix Suns mental skills coach for some time, and now I coach individual athletes in all the leagues, NHL, NBA, MLB, NFL. And just think about it. You come into the league at 18 and now you become the star in the league, but no one's taught you how to be a leader. You might be leading at points, but you don't know how to lead people. You're not sure what does it mean to understand their gifts and their flow, and how do you pull that out of them? How do you manage emotional neutrality? How do you filter your emotions so that you could get through that faster, show up better? So working with people to build their human and mental capital is my sweet spot, and peak performers. And the more they can build that, the greater everyone around them grows.
I've been in so many questions about what leadership means because my agency, we grew from $0 to $1 million in about 6 months. And it was like the amount of growth in humans, and also, like writing TED Talks, and a lot of clients are coming back saying, can you write our keynote? It's interesting. It's like there's such an intimacy with the people we're working with. And it's a beautiful thing. It's also a very intimidating thing for me because there's scope with that, right? Like there's these intimate relationships, but then what do you do when your engagement is done and then they start tinkering with their TED Talk? They email me 3 months later, they want another meeting, but they loved it 3 months ago and I loved it. Or keynotes, like I have a client right now who I love, but the paperwork we have says like, oh, here's where you upload all of your content for us to go through. And he can't stop sending me voice notes and I can't stop letting myself listen. But the truth is I'm like, I can't run a business and be a successful person with 500 voice notes from 50 TED Talk clients. No. And so I have struggled so deeply to keep my likability and enjoy myself and be true. And also tell people like, hey, you have to stop. And I think there's a lot of fear wrapped up in what it takes sometimes to be a real leader, as far as like, I know that the real leader in me will speak up and take care of myself and my team, because of course my team is not going to enjoy working with me, for our clients if they're run over from a scope and boundary perspective. Most clients, we have no issues with this, but there's a special handful that I really struggle with this. And I'm still trying to figure out, like, how do I lead? How do I say no?
I
Um,
think
yeah,
that's so valid in what you're saying about that, because you just said the keyword likability. And
yeah,
we often think when we're going to put boundaries and we're going to hold the line on certain things for healthy, not just because we're putting borders there because we want to, it's just a healthy boundary, that they're not going to like us. But what you come to find out is, just even that client, it would be, you obviously, I know that part of your thing is you're better expressing than you are. And is there anyone on your team that can help upload this stuff for you? Because maybe that's not your wheelhouse. And I see that a lot, especially with speakers, and even myself. That's why I have my assistant, because there's certain things that I'm like, if it was left to me, that probably wouldn't get done, but they're going to have to find someone. Because you could say, how we operate is these things have to go here. You and I could have our talks on these dates. I'd be more than happy for you to share your thoughts, but I'm never going to be able to listen through all these. And I have actually said to people, when you leave voice text, thankfully now on the Apple phone, you could read it, but it
yeah,
takes too long to listen. So that's why reading is faster. So it could be, I could scan this, but I don't have the time to listen to it all. And
yeah,
if you really wanted this client and it was going to take extra effort, then there's going to be a higher fee.
yeah. Yeah, that's something that I realized. I'm like, this client feels like two clients. Like I
Yeah.
would have wanted to charge him twice, not because of the money, but because I'm paying my whole team extra, because I've acknowledged from a standpoint with him where I'm like, this client is demanding more attention than any other client. They're crossing the boundaries of the paperwork more than anyone. And to be honest, I want to serve him. Like I'm happy to do it, but it's burning my team down unless I pay them more because they're just doing more work. So I personally just took it on myself to say, like, I need to learn how to see this coming. I didn't know how to see this coming. So I'm just going to pay my team way more, take way less for the company, and just take care of my team.
Mhm.
But I don't know. It feels like a battle of how to even say to somebody, hey, this isn't something that we can do for you anymore without feeling punitive. And I feel like we all have like childhood trauma of like parents telling us what to do. And I don't want to feel like people are paying me all this cash and then I'm telling them, like, giving them parent energy, like who pays for that?
Yeah.
So I don't know, like as far as setting boundary goes, like, is this something that you hear a lot about in your leadership coaching, or what's the most present issues that you're hearing from these C-suite executives?
I think part of leadership for them is managing everyone's behaviors, is that you're
Mhm.
trying to steer the ship, but you know that everyone in that boat is coming in at a different emotional state each day. And so you're trying to get everyone to row in the same direction, but someone might be in a different emotional state. And you're trying to work on, okay, I know based on personality, this person like parenting, but this person, they need this in order to operate and flow. So I have to give them this. You don't lead everyone the same. It's
Yeah.
not one size fits all. So part of being a leader, it takes more because you have to understand the people on your team, what gets the best out of them. The same with a coach on a team. It can't be, this is how I coach everyone. Everyone is coached uniquely different. Clients, leadership, business. So I
Mm.
think
When you think about businesses growing their sales beyond forecasts, you probably think about a product with very high demand, a very focused brand, and influence driven marketing. But an often overlooked secret is actually the businesses behind the business making selling simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. Shopify is home to the number one checkout on the planet, meaning way less carts going abandoned and way more sales going. So if you're growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout brands like Mattel and Heinz use. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/uturn, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/U-turn to upgrade your selling today. Again, that's shopify.com/YOUTURN, shopify.com/U-turn.
The biggest challenge for leaders is dealing, especially right now, with everyone's kind of emotions and when they come in. And that's why setting standard and expectations up front. This is how we operate. This is our culture. This is the level of excellence. This is how we operate things. Letting clients and the team know this is what's expected, so that when people start to veer off a little bit, it could say, this isn't personal. This is the standard. This is how we operate. And I was able to go to give a talk and work with Apple at their headquarters in California. And what I loved when I went in is they shared, when you work here, everyone knows, they tell you this is where you'll do the best work of your life. That's their standard. This is where you're going to do the best work of your life. One, that's inspiring. Two, it's like, great. So they could come back any week and say, hey, you know what, Sarah, do you feel like this week you're doing the best work of your life? And honest reflection. And she may say, yeah, I hit this, this, and this, or no, it's not. And they could say, great, do you need anything from us to help that? Now you can have honest conversations, but the standard and expectation has already been set. When you set that, it allows leadership to be able, it allows you more flow as a leader because you've set the expectations. We know in sports, when you're on the New York Yankees, everyone will say, I know what the Yankee way is. But you might be on another team and you don't know what the way is because they didn't clearly define it. And lack of clearly defined expectations do not lead to championships or successful businesses.
Well, and there's also a trial and error process for so many people, right? And it's like sometimes hard to have clearly defined processes. Like for the first 10 clients we wrote their TED Talk, we didn't know how many Zoom calls we needed. We didn't know how many edits we would do. And it's like, it's so messy as a leader to try new things on. It's even why I've been scared to release new offers. Like, number one, I just want to stay with what we're good at. I think we're truly like world class at what we're doing. So I'm like, I don't want to dilute our excellence and throw something else in the mix. But another piece of it is I don't want to be like Bambi with my legs falling down on something when I've just got my druthers in my leadership with getting this right and offering it right. So for people who are maybe like trying something out new and they want to sell a new offer to their customers, whether they're in corporate or they're a business owner, and there's like a trial and error in that. How do you, like, there is no Yankee way, right? Like my company, Wise Whisper, we have a Wise Whisper way for TED Talks, but we don't really have a Wise Whisper way yet for keynotes. We only have 5 clients who have asked us to do their keynotes from their TED Talks out of the 50, because we just rolled it out. And it's like, so I've kind of told them, hey, we don't really know what the scope is on this, but we have a limit of this many calls to figure it out. But I don't know. Do you have any suggestions on how to approach people for that kind of a thing?
First, I want to free everyone listening to say, this is what the entrepreneurial spirit is, that anything that's been created, any successful company or thing, has been because someone took a chance. And it's always messy, even along the way. You just get more clarity because you have had enough reps. So I want to say this, go ugly early. The point is, when you go ugly early and you just get started, it's messy, but you can't make something better unless you try and you start. So start. And then as you're going, it's giving you data and information. The process is letting you know, this is what worked, this is what doesn't. And then as the years go on, you learn to say, okay, how do we become more efficient with the knowledge we have and make better systems from this? But that just takes time. So know that it's a process. And then the other thing I want you to know is one of the greatest ESPN shows is called 30 for 30. And it's the story of the making of someone's life. And it always shows the messy part of it. And I want everyone listening to know you are the making of something great. Apple didn't become Apple. And it had to start somewhere, Amazon was not Amazon. It had to start somewhere. Everything started somewhere small. And because someone had a belief or they found a solution to a problem, they said, I'm going to go out there. I mean, that's what I did. I'm an occupational therapist by background. I worked in traumatic brain injury. I specialized in neuro, and then I had gone through 3 strokes. My first stroke was at 25, which left me with a blood clot in my brain, which a doctor told me I could die any day. And it was that moment that I said, well, then if I could die any day, I lost fear of what people thought. And I just said, I'm going to go try to fix healthcare. That's how the process started. And I went back to school, was running healthcare companies, ran different things. And then in 2008, when the recession was hitting, I decided to go start my own practice. My family thought I had lost my marbles, but I felt very committed to the fact that I knew that if I was able to help people shift their mindset, they would not feel like the world was crashing down on them. And so I started speaking for free. I would hold these nights of inspiration. People would come, and then eventually that's how my practice showed me what my niche was. And it was CEOs and it was athletes saying, I know there's more in me. I know there's another level. And that's how it just became apparent. But I just knew there was something that a message I needed to get out there, and it created the way. So for people listening, get in process, align with your gifts and talents. Don't go out of your gifts and talents because you'll always feel like you're failing. Greatness comes from aligning with your gifts and talents and what you're good at. And then just start saying, okay, who in the world needs my gifts? And start finding those matches, and that creates purpose. And on that process, it will evolve to 50 different iterations, but you'll know after trying what lights you up and what doesn't, and where you want to be. And then to the last point of this, over these years, I went from helping people in a lot of different ways, and it's become clear to me I help people on building their human and mental capital in high achieving situations. I'm not this person anymore that's coming and saying, well, let's just figure out tomorrow what your life purpose is. I'm generally working with the people, they know where they are, they just want to make it better. But again, when I first started, I was helping people in a lot of ways. And then I got clear on my niche. I got clear on what lights me up. I got clear on where my gifts really help that. So for people listening, use this formula because it'll allow you to flow better, but you have to get started in order to know.
Okay. One thing you talk about quite a bit is environment and the power of your environment, how it can really impact your results. I love that topic so much because I think that's something that's kind of in our control. Sometimes maybe not, but largely it is. And I imagine for a lot of top performers you work with, like their environment is on their mind all the time because they're working with you and you care for that. So how can people start to assess it? Maybe they don't even realize their environment's impacting them. I think another thing is geography. People don't realize where they live and how that impacts them.
Yeah. Start to get clear on, again, what lights you up. So if you're a studio engineer, you're going to be in the dark. And I've worked with music artists, and a studio engineer is in the dark, but that feels cozy and comfortable, and they're mixing and moving sound and creating an album, which is beautiful. Now, that environment does not work for me. I like bright and light. Like my office has multiple windows. I have to be in a bright space. If I'm going to go give a keynote, I actually go into a hotel and I tell them right when I check in, I want the brightest, sunniest room where the most light's going to come in. Because if it's dingy and dark, I take on that environment as I'm about to walk out, and I can't give what I don't have. So if you're in a work environment and you're in a cubicle or you're in an office, you could still make your space so that it inspires you. What are the words in front of you? What's on your desk? What's around you? You can control that. And the more you get in tune with what environments help you light you up, the more you will start to thrive. So we were talking earlier, when we were in the room together and we were with what I call a bunch of outliers, we all think differently. We operate on a different speed. That was an environment, even with people, that helped me thrive. It just automatically, I was happy, showing up better. So it's not just the space, it's the place, it's the people, and it's your thoughts. Your environment is also your brain, the things that you're thinking. If you don't fill it with the right thing, this becomes a very toxic environment that you're in every day. So your environment matters greatly. I tell players in basketball and football and hockey, we're traveling all the time on the road. So when you come home, I tell them their home has to be set up to feel like home so they could get a reset. It can't feel like another hotel room. because
Yeah.
the brain has to feel a sense of like, oh, I'm home and I could rest. Like the power of environment matters greatly.
Mm. Okay, I'm trying to think of like low-hanging fruit ways to change your environment. Like you ask for a bright and shiny room. Some people live in a dark, dull room. They don't feel like there's inspiration. Like how can somebody get started in making some changes? Or maybe are there any like ROI, like low 80/20 ideas? Like for me, I love plants. Like that
Yeah.
helps me
Oh,
so much.
for sure. You just putting a plant in.
Yeah.
So you're in a place and maybe you can't change where you live, you don't like it. But if you can afford a gallon of paint, could you paint your walls to make it a different color? Can you get, maybe it's, you have a certain inspiring saying, put it on your wall. So, is it the texture of a blanket, a certain seat? Maybe you could buy one chair that you love sitting on that's comfortable for you, that's your reset to. So you just have to have things around you. It doesn't matter how big it is, just the space that allows you to feel inspired in whichever that way is. For some people, they want it dark and cozy. For some, they want it light and bright. That's why when you go to people's homes, you know right away when you go into their home, if they've decorated themselves, but they've curated it to what makes them feel. Every space I've lived in, and I've lived in small and big, people always say, I just feel like when I come in here, I'm calm because I've set the space up to feel that way.
Mm,
So
mm,
you can change a small place by, I'm looking at my desk. I have a brain model because that inspires me. I have my favorite flowers on here. I have a card on my desk because my word for the year is depth. I look at this every day and remind myself, make sure I'm going deeper with my relationships, my clients, my people. Like it's a reminder to me.
mm.
I have all the little things that just, they're simple, but they're reminders of what inspires me, what moves me, what gets me going. Because again, you can't give what you don't have. So make your space,
Mm.
even your car. I want you to clean up your car. I don't want your spaces to be cluttered. If you want low hanging fruit, clean up your space. Do
Yeah.
not have it cluttered. Clutter is mental clutter. So clean up your car, clean up your desk, clean up your space. Just even that alone is going to allow you to feel like you have more flow and it's not hovering over you.
Mm, mm, mm,
Make your bed in the morning.
mm. What are some of the biggest challenges that you see executives facing that maybe people don't really realize, or maybe they're not quite in that executive seat as a leader and they're really struggling and they turn to you? Like, what would you say is the thing that is you just can't stop hearing? I imagine it's probably like hiring the right talent or something like that. But what are you really hearing?
Right now, the constant thing is how to keep getting everyone to come in to be their best. That
Mm,
a lot of leaders that are seeing average, and average isn't going to be good enough, but
yeah.
people are coming in with average effort. And so as a leader, how do we motivate the workforce to be, not because they're asked to be, but because internal motivation is, you want to be better. You want to show up and bring above average talent. You want to be with that mindset of today's where I'm going to do the best work of my life. More
Yeah.
often than not, you have leaders right now going, oh, it's why do we have to accept that this is how the world is, where people, you just can't find good talent. There's
Yeah.
not a good work ethic.
Yeah.
Why did we get to that? How did we get to where we're a nation where people are going, oh, well, that's just how it is. You can't hire good people. I throw it back when I give speeches and I'll say, do you want to be known as the person who comes in and just gives average effort? Do you want to be known as the person who's just average in what you do? We have to put the ownership on all of us that it doesn't matter what your role is, that when you can't expect 100% pay and give 50% effort. That it's like going to a restaurant saying, I want the best meal there is. You go to another hotel, you want to have the best hotel stay, but when you go to work, you only give 50% effort. You would be so mad if your waitress or the hotel staff gave you 50% effort and you paid 100% for that.
Yeah. It's interesting. Like I was interviewing for a project manager in my company, and I interviewed this one woman. I was saying it's part-time and it's going to become full-time once the person gets acclimated. And she I was like, so, what's your vision? And she's like, well, I want to do 20 hours in real estate every week, 20 hours at my current job, and 20 hours for you. And I was just like, that does not sound like a recipe for good performance.
No.
And so I feel like you're right. We are in an era where part of it's inspiring. It's like there's so many options and people feel that. Part of it is really uninspiring, where I feel like I'm looking at it thinking, does anybody want to be excellent at something? And it's
Yeah.
okay if you don't, we all have the right to do what we want to do, but I can relate, like, what are some superpower ways to make sure that if you are hiring your manager, you are an entrepreneur, whatever you are, that you are starting to like really, I don't know, like suss out who the right people are for you.
I think it's really asking the right questions too, and saying, tell me some examples where, well, one would be, hey, the standard coming here is that excellence is our standard. And they'll go,
Yeah.
okay. And then it'll say, tell me some times or where it's presented itself, where you've gone and this has been consistently shown in excellence, your standard, and not just in work, but in life. Tell me a time in life where this wasn't where you're getting paid, but you just chose to do the right thing. Ask them, how did they handle hardship? How did they get back up? Make sure they're not in a victim mode all the time. And so you're asking questions that are looking at the character of the person, because my Becky, she is a newer person on my team. I knew right away from the moment I interviewed her, because she said, I just want to let you know that on these dates, I have to take my child to something. And I said, that's no problem. She's like, I just need you to know, like, a heads up. And she was very cautious. Like, I want to make sure that I'm fully present. I'm here. Her words told me her work ethic matters. How she shows up matters. And I could already see it and how she does things. She'll follow up. What she says, she'll follow up on. So
Right.
you hear it in their stories, and sometimes take them out of business questions and ask them life questions, because how someone shows up in their life and their character is how they're going to show up at the workplace.
Yeah, follow through comes up for me. Like, a lot of friends have been giving me feedback. They're like, man, you have such follow through. Like little things, like if they pay for dinner and I Venmo right away. It's like little tiny things. Where
Yes.
I don't like leaving people out, like wondering about something that they need from me. I like to just get things done. But
I love that.
yeah,
A lot.
so a couple like red flags come to mind of what you, so for example, we are hiring, you've spoken a lot about Apple, which is kind of funny because our creative director who helps me guide the TEDx talks and the keynotes, she actually was right hand for Steve Jobs and all of his decks. And she also wrote speeches for his executive team. And she's over at Wise Whisper now, and talk about excellence. Like, I'm so inspired by her. And we're trying to hire creative directors that work under her. I mean, there's no under or over, but you know what I mean? Like, she's running creative.
Their team.
And we're building the team because more and more business is coming in, and we're already behind by 2 months when clients come in. We can't start people for 2 months, even when they pay us. And so I was just talking to her, and this one person for creative director felt like the best fit. Like, she's done so much of this already. But she wrote in the contract where it says to put your cell phone number, she wrote, I don't use my cell phone for business. And it made me think, like, okay, people have boundaries, and that's beautiful, because when COVID happened, we all learned where our mental health was actually at. And a lot of people realize, like, I'm giving too much to work and it's not maintainable. It's not healthy. Right. There's another part of me as a CEO that was like, I can't reach her by phone. Like, what if there's a problem? And the fact that she set that boundary before we even began felt worrying for me. So I don't know, like, are there any little signs that you look out for in the early stages of finding talent? What do we think of my friend here who doesn't let us call her? Like, what's your opinion on these matters?
I think that a key sign of success is adaptability. So I would say that if this person is in a rigid mindset, now a healthy boundary is beautiful, and I commend that. However, I think when someone is going to be very rigid in a world that needs to stay very agile, that was where a problem will come. And so if this is about a rigid, fixed mindset, a fixed mindset never grows. A growth mindset and agile mindset is very healthy. And so if you wanted to go back to this person, I would bring up that and say, I would love to know if we needed to talk to you, how would we connect with you? If there was something that we had to ask, and she would probably say email. Okay, well, there might be circumstances where we might have to reach out to you by phone. And you would have to hear that. If it's very rigid to you and it doesn't feel like this person is going to be agile or adaptable along this journey, which you're in a journey that keeps adapting, then that's someone that has talent, but it's not a cultural fit.
Right.
And that's okay. That is her choosing that, but you're choosing, you need someone who is going to be, you don't want to take over their world, but you want to know that you have some people that could be emotionally and professionally agile. And that's a very important quality, because when people are very rigid, it's going to be, I'm bringing you the talent, but you're going to have to accept me the way I am. Well, not if it's going to be a hindrance to the company or to other people. And if their behavior is that brashness, that's what we get along with. And so that's why I'm always helping people when I help teams about emotional intelligence. Yes, it's healthy to say, what would be healthy for this person to say is, hey, I have to tell you, the reason that I don't put my cell phone anymore is because it often could get out of hand. If there's an emergency, I'm more than happy to help with it. But it would be more of a dialogue. If someone came to you and had dialogue about it, and you felt comfortable with it in your spirit, then you might be able to hire that person. But if you don't, and it feels very rigid, then it's just not a cultural fit.
Interestingly enough, it feels like rigidity, there is a space for it, right? Like if I counter what you're saying for everybody, like one godsend for me has been being really rigid with my schedule.
Yes.
Where I'm like, if I don't care if it's like Jesus himself that wants to be on U-Turn podcast, if it's at 7 a.m., we're not doing the episode.
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
So like, it's funny because like I find myself to be pretty adaptable, but also like there's a place for rigidity. So how do people kind of decide, like where in your life or your business do you find yourself to be rigid in a way that it's really useful for you?
So let's change the word to structure is great. So you could still be an adaptable person that puts structure into their place. So a player is very structured in their schedule, but adaptable in the game. A leader is structured in how they put their schedule, but they're adaptable in how they shift to the needs of the business. So we reframe it to say structure is extremely healthy. And I'll also support in neuroscience, we have genius zones times. So you and I probably are on similar pages. No one's getting me at 7 a.m. One, I'm not going to be my best. Two, that's my morning time and I can't give what I don't have. So if you don't let me have my morning time, I'm not going to be the best for you.
Yeah.
But my point is though, my best times, I know my best times. So if you want the best, we're going to schedule within those times. Now, am I adaptable if I have to get on a flight? If I have to open up a speech at a certain time? Of course. But generally, there is structure, because if you don't put that structure, then of course, everyone's going to take over your calendar.
Yeah.
So structure is good. And again, here's where conversation is always so good to that person. Hey, I noticed you put down that you don't give your phone number out. Let's talk about that. Why is that? Does this, I need to know, does this mean in general that you stay more rigid, or is this a structure? I would seek to understand before I would make a decision.
So good. What have I not asked you about leadership that you feel like would be important for everybody to know before we go? Because I feel like it's such a special topic and I could ask you about it forever.
I would just say, leadership is about the whole. And that we need to be able to cast very clearly. We may not know all the points, but what what are you trying to create? What is the ethos? What is the vision of where you want your company to go?
Mm.
Consistently inspire people to the vision, because where there is no vision, the people will perish. People have to have hope in where they're going. They need to see, they need to be inspired by that. So as a leader, make sure you're consistently sharing the vision of where we're going. And then we're going to be agile in how we get there, but this is who we want to be. This is who we want to become. And we're learning year by year who we're becoming. But in general, you have created a company that is the best in creating these TED Talks and securing these spots for people. The vision is to have the best TED speakers in the world. You know, if they come through your system, they're going to be the best. And so they have this vision. What does it take to be that? And then as a leader, I want to say to everyone, every human is a leader in some way, because everyone's watching how you show up. And we have to all take extreme ownership in our self and seeing how we show up every day. And the way to do that is to even just be intentional and say, like right now, before I came onto this call, I just asked myself, how can I add value to whoever's listening? When I want to be fully present so that anything I share is adding value to someone's life. Because without that intentionality, I might not have clarity, or I might not have shown up as best as I could. So a leader needs to take ownership in who they are. They need to take ownership in how they show up, because our energy affects everyone. And if we want to help the mental health crisis, it's going to start with us and how we show up, because we affect everyone by our behavior. And no means do I mean you have to be perfect, but just make progress every day. Own who you are, continue to make progress, and leave people better than you found them. Leave every space better than you found it. Be the person that leaves people, places, and spaces better than you found them, and you'll do okay.
Thank you so much for this beautiful conversation. And where can everybody find you to keep learning from you?
CoachStar.com is
that.
my website, and you can go there, and you can connect with me on all my social media accounts. I put on a lot of inspiration, mental tool tips every day, pretty much. I did write a book, The Art of Bouncing Back. You can get that anywhere books are sold. And stay connected. And on my website, I have a 52-week series. You get to sign up. I did a video a week to keep you inspired. You could sign up for that too, all free, because this is the way that we can't do this alone. And we all need we need the tools to know how to handle this journey, because it didn't come with an instruction manual, but we're all doing our best to share our knowledge as we all figure it out.
Thank you so much for coming on. This has been so nice.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in to the U-Turn podcast. I hope you learned so much in this episode and you're putting it into action today. We would love to hear from you. Slide into my DMs at Ashley Stahl or leave a written review if you're inspired. It would mean so much to us. Be sure to subscribe to the show, because as you know, the more subscribers we get, the better the guests we can bring you. And in the meantime, if you're looking to skyrocket your personal brand and impact millions, head on over to wisewhisperagency.com to learn more about how we are getting clients booked for the TEDx stage.